Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 12 of the anime series Arslan Senki, or the Heroic Legend of Arslan. And much as we saw toward the tail end of the previous episode, the entirety of Arslan's party had been split up. And I was left with the overhanging question of what had happened to Narcissus, because he all but disappeared entirely. And this episode, thankfully, picks up immediately with him. He is split off, and he's traversing this area of the countryside that is overseen by this band of, they look kind of like gypsy pirates called the Zot clan, and they run headlong into Silver Mask and a small band of his soldiers, and things just go bad immediately. He splits the leader of the Zot clan right up the middle, and every single one of these clan members are dead by the end of it, with the exception of the daughter of the leader of the Zot clan, this girl Alfried, who I absolutely love and adore. Her debut, whether or not she's familiar with sort of Silver Mask's name or reputation, which it seems like she's not entirely, she's out for blood. She's thirsting for vengeance right then and there, within moments of her father's, sort of lifeless corpse hitting the floor, hitting the ground, and she jumps at him with a sword. She jumps at him when that is, chucked from her hand with a dagger. And she's even willing to pounce at him with no weapons in hand, leading Narcissus, the good guy that he is, to have to intervene. And he has this rock slide set up to come in between and confuse everybody and take out soldiers and everything, and that ends up working in their favor. They just barely get away, and it's hilarious because what follows is some, dialogue between Alfried and Narcissus that I find just absolutely, I was dying laughing. She's like, age, sex, location, how old are you? What's your form and function? Hey, you know what? I think I'm going to travel with you. And he's like asking her, well, don't you kind of have to go back to your, the rest of your Zot clan? Aren't there still clan members out there somewhere? And she just answers seemingly both questions saying, no, I don't. So I don't know if that means no, I don't have any more Zot clan I can return home to, or no, I don't have to go back and be their leader or whatever, return to them. For whatever, reason being, she's basically seemingly going to be a main character in this story, and I wouldn't mind that. With the fact that we find out she's like 16 or whatever, she's much closer in age than almost anybody else, with the exception probably of Elam, to Arslan's age, and she is kind of sort of a princess, if you think about it. So I am wondering if there's going to be some sort of, ties between she and Arslan maybe to come. Then we see, of course, that the turmoil building back in Ecbatana is just at its most tantamount, with the, sort of, I guess you could say, aggressive tendencies going on between the three leadership roles of the Lusitanian faction that has now occupied Ecbatana for over a month, I think they say. And you have, Boden coming in and accosting Innocentus, the king, who is not in very sort of light favor with his people, because he has been, now obsessed with Tahimane, the enemy faction's queen and all this stuff. And he's coming in accusatorily, pointing the finger at Innocentus because one of his temple knights has been found murdered. But as Giscard, the brother of Innocentus, points out, this guy was found in bed with a woman, a heatheness woman, per Boden's own, sort of challenge of what the people in, the Parsian culture and in Ecbatana amount to, who have not accepted his holy Yaldabaoth faith and everything like that. And he throws it right in Boden's face. And you can see that for Giscard, Boden has been a thorn in his side. He's needed to try to find a way to get rid of him. And he uses this deliberately and expertly to do so in the framework that, well, now your people can't look up to their own leader because he was heathenistic, he was in bed with a heathen and all this stuff. He has lost the respect, and thusly all of your soldiers, all of your temple knights, and even you yourself, I'm taking away your supremacy. We've taken down your flag. Get packing. You're no longer better than just the average soldier in the Lusitanian faction. And this effectively sends Boden packing. They leave. He takes his soldiers and they're off to Mariam or whatever. And it's just like, damn. Giscard, pretty slick there, brother, But of course, there's still something going on in that whole aesthetic between him and his own brother Innocentus. He doesn't seem to see eye to eye with his brother, especially because his brother has given favor to Himine, so it'll be interesting to see if this still, builds up and builds up to the point where it's setting brother upon brother, kind of sort of similarly to what we're being led to believe is what happened between Androchorus and, Osros. Then, of course, we follow up with Arslan, Giyev, and Elam. They are very nearing Peshawar, and this coincides basically with Daryun and Ferengis still coming under the chasing finger of Xandis, the son of Carlin, and he just wants to kill Daryun outright. It's like Daryun first, then Arslan, and we see that there's this dark sorcery falling around Silver Mask, and it's intervening in this battle between Daryun and Xandis, respectively. This cloaked figure, a sorcerer or a mage, whatever it is. I think this is the guy we saw Silver Mask speaking to in a previous episode about worrying about, basically Arslan can still be a threat, for the kingdom and for the throne and the heirship of that. And it's intriguing that when we had previously seen Arslan and they were just about to Peshawar's right in sight, suddenly he looks back the opposite direction. There's like a gust of wind, and it's as though he instinctively knows something is afoul, something bad is happening back that way. And just in the nick of time, Arslan comes in to save and help Daryun and Ferengis, dealing with this dark spirit. And of course you have Elam saving Arslan's life when he's knocked off his horse, and they end up like surrounding this enemy force and just coming together and kicking their asses. And it seems, for all intents and purposes, like Xandis is finally killed off. He's going to escape. He's trying to run away, and he does not have the honor that Daryun does. Daryun has already, he's on record as having said, once somebody is off their horse, I will no longer fight them. When Daryun is knocked off his horse, Xandis is still going after him, trying to cut his head off and all this kind of stuff. And so we see that there's a level of, sort of opposite ends of the spectrum as far as honor and duty and loyalty and all these things. And so it's just awesome to see Xandis going over that cliff face. And of course it remains to be seen. He is a tough mother trucker. We saw him get his sword wedged in a tree stump in the previous episode, and he pulls the entire tree stump out of the ground. So maybe an arrow and falling down the side of a cliff didn't kill him. Who knows? But I love, my favorite aspect is the loyalty Daryun has for Arslan. Arslan shows time and again he has a loyalty of his own. Even though he is supposed to be the prince and he's supposed to be in a leadership role, he doesn't see the people around him like being beneath him. He sees them all on a level playing field, and he treats them right. He treats them like fellow human beings. And Elam, time and time and time again, and Giyev is also ribbing him of this fact, he's astounded, and he's like trying to let his hair down every once in a while and, be just accepting to Arslan's friendship. But it's still unnerving to him, and Giyev gets those jabs in. But in the end of it all, Daryun, he says pointedly, the throne does not matter. As long as I can take in my own breath, and as long as I am living and breathing, and I can carry my sword, it is the man, Arslan, for all of the good, for all of the, the heartfulness and the compassion, and this lack of being just a seedy dictator wanting to rule all, all of those things that it seems like all these other leadership roles, that's how they are. He is the complete antithesis of that. He's actually a benevolent person. And Daryun is just like, as long as I can carry this sword, I will forever protect the man. Throne be damned. And it was just like, yeah, damn. Finding loyalty and friendship like that in life is so freaking rare. And to see it embodied across this journey that has been unfolding between these characters, it gives you goosebumps, it gives you chills, and I love it. So I can't wait to see what happens if they're going to make it to Peshawar, whether or not Narcissus is going to catch up to them with this girl Elfriede in tow, and how that's going to play out, whether or not she's going to play out to be a new sort of main character in the series, or just, she's going to go on her way at some point. remains to be seen, but I can't wait to find out. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 12 of Arslan Senki, if you've seen it, and how badass you thought all of these, heroic characters were. It's not just the heroic legend of Arslan. It's the heroic legend of Arslan's posse. Each one of them rises to that challenge and has been kicking ass. As far as I'm concerned. So yeah, love to hear from you. As always, love having the conversation with you guys in the comments below. And otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me. So I'll catch you all later. Peace.